This is the Stories from the Subconscious podcast, a podcast that dares to challenge belief systems through the simple practice of storytelling. Because the truth is, we only know what we know. And when we hear trustworthy and inspiring stories, it allows the inner mind to naturally begin to ask the question, could that be possible for me too? I'm your host, May Devi. Join me as we adopt expansive belief systems and celebrate the stories of those who dare to seek beyond what they once knew possible. Together, let's explore stories from the subconscious. Welcome back to the Stories from the Subconscious podcast. I am your host, May Devi, and today's episode is an adorable little, tiny little, itsy bitsy mini episode with a whole lot of intention. And the intention behind these mini episodes is to offer a nugget to your subconscious mind, a bite-sized and digestible piece of information, or a suggestion, if you will, to allow you to be more impeccable with your word. And why is that important? That's important because our subconscious is where we house our thoughts, our patterns, our beliefs, and our habits. And so the more that we are able to feed the subconscious the desires that we truly do want, the more we're able to create that reality. And I don't know about you, but I find that to be an expansive belief system. So before we get into the goody goods, I'd like to offer 2 housekeeping items. And one of them is to share some gratitude. If you wouldn't mind, could I take just a moment to share some gratitude? And there's a couple of members of my Patreon who I'd like to call out quite specifically for their hearts, for their participation, and for them showing up, and quite frankly, for their support. And I'd like to say thank you to Vestin. I'd like to say thank you to Logan. I'd like to say thank you to Adalia. I'd like to say thank you to Brittany and to Miguel and to Natasha and also to my dad. Thank you. And there's a lot more names I could list off, so forgive me, but for now, we're just sharing a wave of gratitude and allowing that wave to cascade on the shores of your heart, because without you, this simply wouldn't exist. So thank you for being a part of this community. I appreciate you so much. And the other quick little housekeeping item that I wanted to bring to the table is, quite frankly, this book. It feels pretty good to bring books to tables. The Year of Magical Thinking is currently the book here in March of 2023. Oh, is that the right year? Oh my God, it is. I just fell out of the vortex for a second. Okay, so The Year of Magical Thinking is the book that we are reading out on my Patreon in our Consciousness Seekers book club. And we're meeting on March 28th virtually. So that's the last Tuesday of the month to discuss this book, to ask questions, to share the most impactful moments, and also to sit in a group hypnosis session together. And the intention behind that offering is, I don't know if you've ever read a book that you're like, what a beautiful book, really enjoyed it, da-da-da-da. And then a year or 2 passes and someone says, hey, have you ever read that book? And you're like, yeah, but I don't really remember much about it. And somehow it escapes our mind, even though the book was so impactful at the time. Now, nothing ever escapes our mind. It all goes in there into the fold somehow. But I thought about this concept and I thought, well, why not have a book club where we incorporate hypnosis, where in the book club meeting that we have, we discuss the most impactful parts or lessons or takeaways, and then we create a hypnosis that's based on that so that we can really plant those seeds directly in the subconscious mind. Because we want to read books in order to learn and to grow and to expand what we know to be possible. So it's really perfect for hypnosis. So that's kind of the idea behind it all. And if that is of interest to you, then I invite you to check out patreon.com/belief system and join us at our Consciousness Seekers tier. All right, let's dive into the juicy juiceness of this week's episode. Today's subconscious language hack is involving the word don't. Or I suppose that's multiple words, but anyways, it involves don't. And here's the odd thing, interesting thing about don't. Don't sometimes isn't really registered by the subconscious mind. So when I say to you, don't think of a pink elephant in this dramatic pause, what did you start to do? Perhaps you started to think of a pink elephant. And the reason why that occurs is because the subconscious mind kind of bypasses the word don't and hears or focuses more on the rest of the sentence. So when I said don't think of a pink elephant, your mind really heard think of a pink elephant. And so you do. And so I bring this up because with very good intention, there may be some journaling or affirmation work in your life where you're involving the phrase don't. I don't smoke. I don't worry. Whatever it is. Or perhaps even offering up commands to a child or to a partner or to students. Don't worry. Don't stay out late. Don't smoke. If it is true that our subconscious mind doesn't really register the word don't, it doesn't hear it, it bypasses don't, then perhaps it would be more helpful to rephrase these sentences in a way that affirms what it is that you actually do want. So what I mean by that is, instead of saying something like, I don't smoke, you could use a more affirming phrase like, I am a non-smoker. And there's a very different feel behind that, and that is with intention. Or how about an affirmation like, I don't worry about the things I can't control? What if that was phrased to be something like, my mind is free to think healthy and helpful thoughts? Very different feeling behind that affirmation. So this is an invitation to notice the don'ts, or perhaps you don't. But this is an invitation to become aware of where don't has slipped its way into your affirmations, into your thoughts, into your suggestions. And notice, almost like a game, if you can come up with an alternative way to phrase that sentence in a more affirming way, in a way that gives crystal clear clarity to what it is that you are calling in. Because the truth is, the more clear you are, the more clear you're able to draw in that reality. And that's what we're doing here, right? So why not allow our words to work for us on our behalf? And that, my friends, is this episode's subconscious nugget. I hope that you enjoyed this mini episode. I would love to hear how it has impacted you or expanded your belief system, or what it has made you curious of. So feel free to reach out to me either on Instagram at maydv.atx or on patreon.com/beliefsystem and let me know what you think. So thanks again so much for being here. I'm giving you a big wave and a massive hug all the way from Austin, Texas, and sending you all the best. Thanks so much. This has been another fabulous episode of the Stories from the Subconscious podcast. For more podcast goodies, hypnosis offerings, even a consciousness expanding book club, and so much more, visit patreon.com/beliefsystem. And finally, I know you know, the thing about stories is that the more that they are shared, the more powerful they become. So please share this episode or leave a review of what resonated with you most, because you never know who you may help in the process. Until next time, storytellers, stay curious.